Hello there. My name is Mackenzie. Welcome back to my channel, and thank you so much for being here. It's been a minute, hasn't it? Since consistent videos came out? Yeah, crazy. Hopefully it gets consistent soon. We actually have been taking care of some stray cats who live outside of our apartment complex. One of those stray cats ended up getting pregnant and having her babies on our porch. So it was a lovely experience. It's still being experienced. She's in our bedroom right now with her kittens. She has 4 kittens. They're healthy. 2 girls, 2 boys. I have them being adopted out. I'm currently looking for homes for 2 of them. But if I don't find homes for them, I do have a rescue who is willing to take them. So all of that to be said, I have had a very busy March, even though you and I haven't spoken at all. But today, we are going to go ahead and talk about books that are coming out in quarter 2 of 2023. Quarter 2 consists of April, May, and June, so I'm going to be talking about the releases that I know of that I am interested in coming up in those 3 months. I am also going to talk about some re-releases, I think actually 2. I'm going to be using my handy dandy Chromebook over here, so if you see me looking down quite frequently, that's what I'm doing. Do not worry, I'm not ignoring you, I just want some facts. So if you were new to my channel, hi, welcome, thank you for being here. But also, the way I do my anticipated releases, these are books that I am anticipating. So I tend to stick to adult genres. There will be some YA in here. I don't typically put romances on here because romances I tend to read on a whim. I don't necessarily anticipate them. My main genres that I really enjoy are sci-fi and fantasy. Sometimes I have mystery on here, sometimes I have thriller, sometimes I have horror on here. So those are the main genres that... I'm filming a video, bruh. Those are the main genres that we're going to be looking at today. Like I said, we are going to be talking about things that I am interested in. So if this is your first video, this is probably not going... It might give you a good sense of like what kind of reader I am, but I am always a good proponent of finding out what reviewers actually like before you get into them. So look at some of my other stuff maybe first, but this could be a good intro, I think. Yeah, anticipated releases might be a good way to judge readers. Maybe. But I feel like a lot of us anticipate things that we end up not reading at all. Anyway, let's get down to it. If you don't know, now you know. Books come out on Tuesdays for whatever reason, like a lot of different media. The first Tuesday in April is April 4th, and the first book that we're going to talk about is The Scourge Between Stars by Ness Brown. I heard about this book from Jessie from Books and Bowties, but I don't think that that is their booktube anymore. I think it has changed, but I don't know what it is, so I'm going to flash it on the screen. We have an acting captain of the starship Calypso. Jacqueline is responsible for keeping the last of humanity alive as they limp back to Earth from their forebears' failed colony on a distant planet. So I really enjoy sci-fi. I really enjoy space stories. I really enjoy survival stories in space. That's my thing. I really enjoy it. My coworker, my boss actually, she told me the other day, I didn't think you liked action movies. And I told her, are you kidding me? I feel like I only like action movies. I did just need to be good. They just need to be good. But this seems really good. So we have horror, sci-fi, novella. That's pretty interesting. So novellas for me are always a hard sell to buy physically though, because it comes out in hardback, it's gonna be $30 for 100 pages, and like, I'll probably love it, but like, how much am I gonna love it for $30? You know? So I'll probably try that on audiobook first before I actually pick it up. Next, we have Blood Debts by Terry J. Benton Walker. Look at that cover. That's a sassy looking cover. Justice will reign. 30 years ago, a young woman was murdered. Oh wait, I'm not giving you the rating for The Scourge Between the Stars on Goodreads right now is a 3.92, and the rating for Blood Debts is a 3.90. So for Blood Debts, we have a young adult fantasy, mystery, queer, LGBTQ+. I'm loving it. However, it is YA, and that always, it gets me. Like, what kind of YA are we talking? Are we talking the YA that is written for adults and so technically should be an adult story? Or are we talking about YA that is actually for young adults? Which is fine, but that's probably not going to interest me that much. It typically doesn't. We have a young woman being murdered 30 years ago. A family was lynched 30 years ago, and New Orleans saw the greatest magical massacre in history. In the days that followed, a throne was stolen from a queen. On the anniversary of these events, the 16-year-old twin heirs to a powerful magical dethroned family are mourning their father and caring for their sick mother. Until they discover their mother isn't sick, she's cursed. How did I hear about this? We have a contemporary fantasy debut with powerful magical families, intergenerational curses, and deadly drama. And that's what gets me every time. Intergenerational. Intergenerational. So many syllables, such a good time. I love intergeneral curses, intergenerational trauma. I love reading about this stuff. It amazes me. It astounds me. It's great. Sorry, my cats. I have a lot of them now. I'm just trying to manage. So that's probably why it's on here, but I'm not going to lie and say that this seems like a very convoluted plot. So I have the highest of hopes for it. Hoping all goes well. Next, we have the following Tuesday, which is Untethered Sky by Fonda Lee. So Fonda Lee wrote the Jade War saga. I have yet to read it, but everyone and their mother loves it. I would love to think that I would love it too. But if you have seen any of my other series TBR videos, I need to stop. So I have some other series that I'm trying to get through before I'm allowed to purchase any more series. I say that like I didn't purchase a first in the series in January. Anyways, Untethered Sky. It is a novella, adult sci-fi fantasy. High fantasy novella, interesting, but it has a 4.26 on Goodreads already. So Emily's family was torn apart by a manticore, and ever since then it looks like she is hunting manticores. That seems fun. That seems easy. It seems fun. It seems uncomplicated. And that's what I think really defines what makes a seasoned author versus a debut author. Debut authors are always trying to make their plots so convoluted. Just stick to the basics. Make it dynamic. Make it interesting and convolute character arcs and their dynamic and everything else. But what should be simple is the plot, how it is pitched, what is happening. I told you she's hunting manticores. Why? Because her family was murdered by one. Live with it. The atrocities are part of her. The following Tuesday, we have The Haunting of Alejandra by V. Castro. V. Castro also wrote The Goddess of Filth, which I have been wanting to read for a while. Also, all of their covers look awesome. The Haunting of Alejandra is a adult horror horror fantasy retelling of a mythology. What is it a retelling of? Let's find out. A woman is haunted by the Mexican folk demon La Llorona as she unravels the dark secrets of her family history in this ravishing, provocative horror novel. Yes, bitch. Alejandra no longer knows who she is. To her husband, she is a wife, and to her children, a mother. To her own adoptive mother, she is a daughter, but they cannot see who Alejandra has become, a woman struggling with a darkness that threatens to consume her. Girl, yes. Yes. I love stories like this. I love stories where women are losing it. They are losing themselves and therefore losing it. I love these stories, so I'm very excited about this. And the cover! Look real closely at that cover. You see a skull on the inside. Do you see it? Moving on. Next, we have In the Lives of Puppets by T.J. Klune. So, I have yet to read a T.J. Klune. I think I have one T.J. Klune, and I think it is by the in the Cerulean Sea. In the Cerulean Sea, we have flowers in a house. In a house in the Cerulean Sea. The house in the Cerulean Sea. I was pretty fucking close. Okay. I have not read it yet because I'm thinking like, oh, maybe I'll do like a cozy fantasy reading vlog. And then everyone did a cozy fantasy reading vlog and I'm like, I will not even feel original. And also, I don't have other picks because y'all picked all the other picks. So I was like, I'll just hold off and I'll wait. And whenever I read a cozy fantasy book, I will just do a little like review of it and then I'll mash all those reviews together and make it a video. Watch out. Strategic planning. Anyways, in the lives of puppets, this cover is also a house, multiple houses with a main color scheme of green. It's interesting. So this is also a retelling, sci-fi fantasy, adult. TJ Klune invites you deep into the heart of a peculiar forest and on the extraordinary journey of a family assembled from spare parts. What is the retelling? So we have a robot family and a human. 3 robots and a human, and they're all a family, and they live in the trees. I've read the whole plot. I do not know what this is a retelling of. I have no idea. So there are 3 robots and a human, and one day the human discovers that one of the robots that is their family has a history, a past of hunting other humans, and then like they become in danger for some reason, and then they're running away to like escape to the place where robots were made. Is this like a Pinocchio or something? A real boy situation? Can he accept love with strings attached? Yeah, I think this is a Pinocchio retelling. That is a very far-fetched fucking Pinocchio retelling, but it has a 4.29 on Goodreads, and I'm sure everyone else on Goodreads is gonna love it, and everyone on YouTube is gonna have opinions. Okay, so that is not it for April because I almost missed another one on April 4th that is being republished is One for My Enemy by Olivia Blake. So this was originally published in 2019 on Kindle, and this is Olivia Blake. Olivia Blake, we all know her. If you don't know her, let me tell you about her. She wrote The Atlas 6, which came out at a very appropriate time when everyone was literally gagged for Dark Academia. Books, aesthetic, cozy comfort ASMR rooms, like you couldn't go anywhere without seeing Dark Academia something. So Olivia Blake puts out this book called The Atlas 6, and it is Dark Academia. Not gonna lie, it's really dark, it's really interesting, it becomes much more adventure style fantasy towards the end, but the majority of it is very, very academic, and I really enjoyed kind of the way the magic was described very scientifically. And I think that's what really brought in a love from a lot of people. I'm not sitting here saying or telling you that she has success for no reason. She absolutely does. But she was riding a high. After that, she got traditionally published because everyone wanted that book. So she, self-published. All of those were bought out. And then she was traditionally published. Bought out. Then she says it's going to be a trilogy. There are 2 more books. She's signed for them. It's amazing. Then the same publisher that picks up her books for the Atlas 6 also picks up a couple of her other stories, including, but potentially not limited to, Alone with You in the Aether, which came out in 2022, One for My Enemy, Masters of Death, La Petite Morte, I believe is also coming out. And there might be more. So, just so you know, that's what's happening. So, we have One for My Enemy by Olivia Blake coming out April 4th, which is very exciting. This is an urban fantasy adult romance. I'm really excited for this. It does say that it's a retelling. Oh, and I was gonna be like, watch, it's probably Romeo and Juliet, because if it's a romance, that's the only thing that they can do a retelling of, because nobody's original anymore. And what is the first fucking line on Goodreads? In New York City, we lay our scene. Two rival witch families. Does she know or does she know? All right, well, here's the thing. I'm a slut, I think, for Romeo and Juliet retellings when they're done really well. And I really enjoy Olivia Blake's prose. I know that when, what's her face? When they did the, when Chloe Gong put out that series about Romeo and Juliet, I wasn't into it. But you know why I'm not really into it? Because I don't believe teenage gangsters. I really don't. Six of Crows is such a hardcore exception because I read that as if they were adults, because they were. They weren't, but they should have been. Because, like, how come this group of, what, 6 people? I don't have my gauges in. This group of 6 people, they're all the same age? All of them? Have you ever had a group of 6 people that were all the same age when you all didn't go to school together? You know? And yes, I am going to put gauges in halfway through the video. Thank you very much. So, one for my enemy. I'm very excited. Also, it looks like we are going to have, obviously, the enemies to lovers trope. And really, Romeo and Juliet was not really enemies to lovers because, like, their families were enemies. And Juliet had, like, 0 qualms. Neither of them really had any qualms about being together, or like, you know, they were just like, oh, it has to be a secret because our family. They were not like, I hate you, but I want to be with you. That's not enemies to lovers. That is enemies to lovers, but the other one is not. Now let's talk about May. So we have The Salt Grows Heavy by Cassandra Khaw. This one, Cassandra Khaw wrote Nothing But Blackened Teeth, which I really enjoyed because it was a really good, like a well-written scary movie, but in book form. It was great. The atmosphere was awesome. The story was like just enough. Like I don't need a ton of explanation for it to be horrifying what was happening. I really enjoyed it. So this is also another novella. We have horror fantasy, we've got mermaids, and it's queer. So this is a bewitching fairy tale of discovering the darkness in the world and the darkness within oneself. You may think you know how the fairy tale goes. A mermaid comes to shore and weds the prince, but when the fables forget is that the mermaids have teeth. And now her daughters have devoured the kingdom and burned it to ashes. On the run, the mermaid is joined by a mysterious plague doctor with a darkness of their own. Deep in the eerie snow-crusted forest, this pair stumble upon a village of ageless children who thirst for blood and the 3 saints who control them. This sounds amazing. Oh my god. I'm so, like, I saw Cassandra Khaw and I was like, let's do it. I read the plot summary and I was like, fucking buy me the book. I need it. Let's go. That actually looks really good and I'm really excited about that. I'm not gonna lie. Arcady Martine also has a book coming out, a novella. It's called Rose House. Arcady Martine is the author that wrote A Memory Called Peace and a Memory Called Empire and a Desolation Called Peace. I've knocked that over twice now. Are you counting? And I loved those books. I read them for a video doing, like, I think it was the Hugo Awards or something. I'll link it up above for you guys. But I loved those books and I am ready for more Arcady Martine. This is the next thing that she has out. It is a novella. Sci-fi, mystery, horror, fantasy novella. What she does best. There's a dead person in Rose House. The house says so. Rose House, having completed its duty of care and informed Detective Smith and the China Lake Police Precinct that there is in fact a dead person inside it, dead of unnatural causes, has shut up. No one can get inside Rose House except for Dr. Giselle. Dr. Giselle was not in North America when Rose House called the China Lake Precinct, but someone did, and someone died there, and someone may be there still. I'm so excited. I think this only has a limited run of 1,000 copies, but I would love to have a copy. I don't know if they're already out or not, but That looks awesome. Next, we have Venom and Vow by Anna Marie McLemore. Now, this author I have not read from before. However, I have heard so much about them from the YouTuber Perpetual Pages. Perpetual Pages talks about them all the time. I love Perpetual Pages. I love the content they put out, and I love the books that they read. They always seem so interesting, and I want to pick them up. And I really have not had first of all, the wallet space, the TBR space, or the time to fit in, I feel like, the books that I really want to be reading lately. So I continue to put Anna Marie McLemore's books on my anticipated releases because I do anticipate them. I just don't know when I will be able to get to them because life is a bitch sometimes. Books by them that I have been trying to read recently would include Self-Made Boys, a Great Gatsby retelling, Lake Lore, and now that I am looking at it, I feel like I also kind of want to read When the Moon Was Ours, maybe? Anyways, let's talk about this book. This book is Venom and Vow. Look at that cover. It's very, very cool. Those are knives in her braid. That's awesome. We have a YA queer fantasy. Keep Your Enemy Closer. Co-written by Married Writing Team, Anna Marie and Elliot. This is a lush, powerful YA novel about owning your power and becoming who you really are no matter the cost. We have Cade McKenna, who doesn't know that Gail and Valencia are the same person. Valencia doesn't know that every time she thinks she's fighting Patrick, she's fighting Cade. This is very exciting. Cade is transgender who's doubling for his brother, and Valencia is a young dama attending the future queen of Eliana. Gail is the infamous boy assassin Cade has vowed to protect. Patrick is reluctant heir to the kingdom. Prince Gail has vowed to destroy. There's so many characters. Am I getting confused? Is this a retelling? It kind of feels like a retelling. It's not a retelling, it doesn't say, but it does kind of feel like that one story that She's the Man is based off of. It's a Shakespeare story. But basically, like, this one person is dressing up as somebody else. So, like, everybody else is, like, kind of, like, all connected because of that. That's how it feels. So, I am interested. It doesn't seem like it's too complicated of a plot. But I think I might... I always get confused nowadays with, like, so many characters. My fear is always that they're not going to be defined enough for me to stand out. Like, that's the third time. Maybe I should move it, huh? Good God, Mackenzie. Chill out. Anyways, Yellow Face by R.F. Kuang. I am very excited to read this. Look, I haven't read R.F. Kuang since she broke my heart with the final book in the Poppy War series. And here's the thing. Here's what I've been thinking. Because I really, really loved that series. And I just don't like the ending, and I think I wasn't supposed to. I don't think that I was supposed to like the ending. I think it was supposed to break my heart. I think I was supposed to be feeling like I was not taken care of, you know? So I'm very highly anticipating my next R.F. Kuang read. I don't know if that'll be Babel, and I don't know if it'll be Yellowface, but I do want it to be one of them because I'm very excited. So Yellowface is an adult contemporary mystery thriller. We have Juniper Song, who is not who she says she is. She did not write the book she claims she wrote, and she is most certainly not Asian American. In this chilling and hilariously cutting novel, in the vein of White Ivy and the Other Black Girl. So we have this author. I'm glad there was another book that came out recently called The Plot or something, and that one is similar to where they are an author, or no, they're a teacher and their student dies, so they steal their student's work and publishes it under their name. And so it's a similar enough plot to where I don't know if I had read that already, I would want to read this one too. But I do want to read this one because I haven't read the other one. So I'm not going to read the other one, and I'm going to read this one instead. I think that this plot idea is very interesting. I think that R.F. Kuang has a lot to say about race, which is totally valid. I think it's really interesting to see critique done that way. It does remind me a lot of like Ace of Spades, which is really cool. So I'm really anticipating this. Next, we have The Witch King by Martha Wells. So I have only read one book by Martha Wells. That is the first in the Murderbot series. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but I really, really enjoyed it. I really think that Martha Wells has a good grasp on the worlds that she creates for her stories. So Witch King is a fantasy sci-fi adult novel. After being murdered, his consciousness dormant and unaware of the passing of time while confined in the elaborate water trap, Kai wakes to find a lesser mage attempting to harness Kai's magic to his own advantage. That was never going to go well. But why was Kai in prison in the first place? What has changed in the world since his assassination? And why does the rising world correlation appear to be growing in influence? Kai will need to pull his allies close and draw on all his pain magic if he is to answer even the least of these questions, and he's not going to like the answers. I really enjoy this plot. I put this book on here mainly because it was just Martha Wells. But I really am enjoying this plot setup because it really feels like we're following the villain. It feels like this person who was assassinated so long ago, and now someone like raised them from the dead, a lesser mage, so he was able to be overpowered very easily, and now he is after a group of people whom he had originally thought had been possibly laid to rest or not active as a group anymore. Seems like we're following the villain, and I'm really excited for it. I'm not a fan of the cover though, so... Next, we have Deep as the Sky, Red as the Sea by Rita Chang Epig. So I heard about this one relatively recently. Lies. I added this in December. I think I also heard about this from Jesse at Bowties and Books, which is not their thing anymore. I'll pop it up right here. But this is an adventure novel about a legendary Chinese pirate queen. Her fight to save her fleet from the forces allied against them, and the dangerous price of power. I love pirates. I love pirates. I love pirate queens. I love awesome bad bitches. I really do love it. I'm really excited about this story. I really enjoy the cover. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful cover. This is an adult story, so I'm really excited about that. I feel like more often than not when I'm looking for a pirate story, it's either actually not about pirates, or it's YA, which is not entirely what I've been looking for. I'm not like looking for something super, super dark, but I am looking for something like Our Flag Means Death, where there is death and kind of like a little bit of gore, but, you know, fun. A romp, if you will. Okay, now we're into June. Now we're almost done, baby. I think we only have 3 more books to talk about. So, let's talk about Eric LaRocca, because I have still not read an Eric LaRocca. Books and Lala really likes him. I think that I might like him as well. I really have to just try an Eric LaRocca, but I'm nervous. I'm not gonna lie. This one is called Everything the Darkness Eats. So, this is not a novella, but it's only 202 pages. So we have a queer adult horror with some fantasy elements, mystery thriller. An insidious darkness threatens to devastate a rural New England village where occult forces are New England village when occult forces are conjured and when bigotry is left unrestrained. Ooh, I love it when the bad guy is racism. That's my favorite part. We have a haunting supernatural thriller from a new, exciting voice in genre fiction. We have disappearances in a small town, a grieving widower with a grim secret, mysterious older gentleman named Crowley, which is a demon's name, and a member of local law enforcement is tasked with uncovering the culprit responsible for the bizarre disappearances, soon begins to learn of a current unbridled hatred simmering beneath the guise of the town's idyllic community a hatred that will eventually burst and forever change the lives of those who once found peace in the quiet town. Very good, Eric LaRocca. That sounds like something that will just probably make me depressed. Next, we have Night's Edge by Liz Karen. Oh, this is about vampires. Hell yeah. We've got an adult horror, vampires, contemporary. Having a mom like Izzy meant Mia had to grow up fast. No extracurriculars, no inviting friends over, and definitely no dating. The most important rule, tell no one of Izzy's hunger, the kind only blood can satisfy. So this is similarly sounds to woman eating. However, Mia is in her 20s now and longs for a life of her own, one where she doesn't have to worry about anyone discovering their terrible secret. A breathing down her neck. When Mia meets rebellious musician Jade, she dares to hope she's found a way to leave her home and her mom behind. I wonder though, is Mia a vampire? Or isn't she? That would be very interesting. Because the summary makes it seem like potentially she is not a vampire and is being held hostage here, which is scary. So the last book that we're going to talk about is really like a big if. Like a big if. We have a Ruth Ware. Now, if you haven't been following me since my inception, that's fine. I'm here now. You're here now. Let's talk about Ruth Ware. Ruth Ware, I originally read In a Dark, Dark Wood, and I loved it. I read most of her other novels, and I loved them as well. Things started to go downhill for me when I started to read things like The Lying Game, which I couldn't give a shit about. And then I read One by One. Awful. Awful. I think I read it, right? Yeah, I read it. Awful. And then I attempted The It Girl. DNF'd. Awful. Bad. No good. This one is called 0 Days. This is another mystery thriller suspense. Hired by companies to break into buildings and hack security systems, Jack and her husband Gabe are the best specialists in the business. I'm not saying that other word. But after a routine assignment goes horribly wrong, Jack arrives home to find her husband dead. To add to her horror, the police are closing in on their suspect, which is her. So this is giving more salt as opposed to Mr. and Mrs. Smith, because her husband's dead. So it can't really be Mr. and Mrs. Smith, can it? Anyways, Jack is out to find the real killer in order to save her skin. So it seems like it could be interesting. It seems really out of Ruth Ware's like writing range. She hasn't done anything like this before. So I'm interested to see what people will say. I don't know though if I will be picking it up, but we'll see. I haven't been giving you the Goodreads ratings, and now we're done with all of the books. So let's go back through and give these the ratings. Okay? Okay. Untethered Sky is a 4.26. The Haunting of Alejandra, 3.68. In the Lives of Puppets, 4.28. The Salt Grows Heavy, 3.97. Rose House, 3.93. Venom and Vow, 4.00. Yellowface, 4.16. The Witch King, 4.10. Deep as the Sky, Red as the Sea, 3.84. Everything the Darkness Eats, 3.93. Night's Edge, 4.35. And 0 Days, 3.91. I'm so glad I caught this in time because I missed one. So we are cutting in right here in the middle of this video to talk about 19 Claws and a Blackbird, which is a series of short stories written by Augustina Bazterrecka. Do you remember her? She wrote Tender is the Flesh That Destroyed Us All, that I don't have a copy of because I can't bring myself to look at it because it reminds me of all of the creepy things and all of the gross things about humanity that I really try to ignore on the day-to-day basis, because how else am I going to live? Yeah, her. She has a new book coming out. So like I said, this is a series. It is a short story collection. We have 19 dark, wildly imaginative short stories from the authors of award-winning TikTok sensation Tender is the Flesh. So we have the same translator, who is Sarah Moses. We appreciate her very much for doing this. We have a 3.63 on Goodreads right now. I love the cover. I really enjoy this one. Is this the American cover that I'm looking at and will be pulling and putting on the screen for you guys? Yes, that is the cover that we will be getting, and the Barnes & Noble exclusive is it the same cover? It is the same cover, and it's the same price too. Girl, I will be getting it. I will be doing it. We will be having it. Maybe I'll also be getting Tender is the Flesh, because why wouldn't I? It was still really good, but like the creepy crawlies. Anyways, this book is coming out on August 1st. No, this is coming out for me on June 20th for some reason. So we are talking about it now because it's coming out on June 20th at Barnes & Noble. And like I said, so we've got 19 short stories. It looks like it's going to be about 176 pages. So that is about 9 pages per short story, which doesn't make them very long. So I'm hoping these are really great. The novella was really good, and I feel like she does a really good job of like creating the background and the story for which things are gonna happen, which creates real believability. So I'm really excited about this, and I'm glad that I caught this before I edited the video. So now you can know about it if you didn't already. Back to past me. So those are all of the books that I am anticipating in Q2. Why don't you go ahead and tell me down in the comments below what your #1 book that you are anticipating in Q2 is. And also, if you are ever able to actually read the books that you anticipate in the year, in the quarter, in the month. How do you do it? If you do it, how do you do it? Let me know down in the comments below. I will see you next time in our next video. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!